How's it hanging, everybody? So today we're talking about one of my favorite new topics in the world of video games, and that is Dragon Quest. More specifically, we're talking about the Dragon Quest 35th anniversary stream coming up here in the United States on May 26th. It's actually an international stream. There's going to be an English translation, a simultaneous Korean translation, Chinese translation. So I really like that Square Enix and the Dragon Quest studio are taking things international. They're thinking on an international scale, which is very, very cool. So we don't know a lot. There haven't been a lot of formal announcements about what we can expect in this stream. Let me just say, first of all, I am an aspiring Dragon Quest stan. I am a budding Dragon Quest fanatic because I played Dragon Quest XI-S about 6 months ago. It was one of my favorite games of all time. It's one of the most impactful games I've ever played. It is probably my favorite JRPG of all time, dethroning even Chrono Trigger, which I never thought possible, but here we are. So I can't say enough good things about Dragon Quest, and it's the only mainline Dragon Quest game I've ever played, is XI-S. And I'm so thankful that I did, and I'm also so kind of regretful that my entire life has passed by and I haven't been playing Dragon Quest games the entire time. My bad. But anyway, let's get into what we know. So Kotaku came out. This is not Kotaku, but Kotaku announced that there's basically going to be a new game announced at this stream. And that was inferred from this article. This is actually a Japanese website. I straight up just ran it through a translator. So you're looking at a shoddy auto-translated version of this article right now. So please take that with a grain of salt. Now, Kotaku described it as a new game. This describes it as a new series, and we'll announce a new series specifically. So I don't know if that is a weird translation thing. I don't know if it's actually going to be a new series or if it's just going to be a new game. If it is a new series that they're announcing, then I don't think that we're necessarily going to get a reveal of Dragon Quest 12, which is kind of a bummer, but there's a lot of other things that can be discussed here. For example, like if you look at this list here, this apparently goes over what we're going to get in the first half of the presentation. Now, first of all, I'm not sure if I don't know if I should tell you guys that this is like officially what's going to happen, or if this is sort of a rumor. I just don't know, because this article doesn't really specify, or at least I cannot infer of that from the this kind of shoddy translation on its own. But basically here we have mention of Dragon Quest X Online, which is a Japan-only game. We have a bunch of mobile games mentioned. There's a lot of Dragon Quest mobile games in Japan, and the ones that we have here in the States are Dragon Quest Tact and Dragon Quest of the Stars. I don't care for either of them. They're very mobile. They're very like gotcha, and they try to sell you stuff before you even finish the tutorial. So it's just not for me. But there's also like some free-to-play stuff. Dragon Quest Rivals Ace is like a card game, free-to-play card game. There's a manga it looks like they're going to talk about. They're also going to talk about Dragon Quest Island, which is a Dragon Quest theme park, which is crazy to me. The Dragon Quest is big enough to get its own theme park. In Japan, that just goes to show how huge this property is in Japan. For Dragon Quest to get its own theme park, it's in the same conversation as, you know, Nintendo, Disney, and Universal. So that's pretty wild. I'm sure it's going to be a much smaller theme park than those, but still cool. So anyway, that's what we've got as sort of a little bit of a teaser, but I'm just going to tell you guys what I want to see at this presentation. Do I think I'm going to get all these things? Not really. But I will say that the first thing on my list is a pet peeve. It is absolutely a pet peeve. Square Enix needs to fix 1 through 3, Dragon Quest 1 through 3 on modern platforms, on modern consoles and PC. This needs to get fixed because these games are ports of the mobile games from years back. They're based on the Super Famicom editions of the games, which we never got here in the States until now, obviously. And there's a lot of things that I like about these. But there's a couple things that are kind of deal breakers for me, and that is, one, the sprites. When I say sprites, I'm talking about how the characters look when they just walk around on a map. So they have a pixelated look, but the pixelization is like more dense than the pixelization of the Super Famicom version. So you have this like ugly mishmash of gross looking sprites that are not the same pixel density as the rest of the environment, which looks super awkward. I don't know why any studio would choose to do that. It seems just crazy to me, but they've done it, and they need to at least give us a way to opt into the old sprites. I think that's just a baseline good faith thing of what they should be doing. They just give us the original game the way it looked on the Super Famicom. And then I like some other things about these ports. I like the menus. I like the way the battles look. Like, we're going to see a battle here shortly, and I think the battles look pretty solid. I think I like the little animations. I like the little drawings, the pictures that they drew. Let's wait until we see a battle here so I can show you like that. I mean, they look very simple, but they look like Dragon Quest. I don't know. I love the way the battles look. So I'm cool, and I also like the soundtracks on these. They're kind of more modernized than the original 8-bit soundtracks. So I like a lot of what's going on with these three games. I just want to see these little things get fixed, man, because, you know, these, like Square Enix, these are your babies. Do you really want your babies to have to be remembered this way? Do you really want this to be the only way that people can play these games, is to have this choppiness whenever the characters move around on the screen? It's choppy. It's like some kind of stutter that's happening. That's another thing that absolutely has to be fixed with this. So please fix the sprites. Please fix the choppiness. Save your babies. This is like video game history right here. Don't you want it to at least have this sort of baseline, decent performance, like baseline of non-bugginess, basic functionality? I sure would like that. I've held off on playing these games on my Nintendo Switch for that exact reason. So I'm hoping we get a simple patch to make these games a little bit more palatable. It wouldn't take a lot of work, and it would be very worth it in the long run for the company to do that, I think. Okay, so next up, we've got on my list, we have Dragon Quest Rocket Slime, aka Slime Mori Mori is the name of the series, and it is basically an action RPG sub-game, or not sub-game, a spin-off series from Dragon Quest, where you play as a slime and you are a pretty badass action adventure hero in a 2D Zelda type format. And it is a great series that we only got the first entry on the Nintendo DS. The other two entries were available on the 3DS in Japan only, and I would love to see ports of these games, or even a port of just one of the games would be awesome, to come to the West, to modern platforms. Touch it up, give it a nice little once over, clean up the menus, give it an upscale, all that cool stuff. These games are really good, man. I love these Rocket Slime games. Though what we're looking at right here is a trailer, and we're unfortunately not seeing a lot of gameplay. But let's get some gameplay. Is it going to show us some gameplay? Come on, show us some gameplay. I want you guys to see a little bit of gameplay before we move on. But it's not going there. But anyways, I had a great time with these. You're also in the original game, you're in these ships. So you're on a moving ship like that, and then you throw all of these items into the cannons, just like all this random junk that you can throw into the cannons. So it becomes kind of a strategy game with these big boss fights. But there's also totally awesome like 2D platformer over the head, top-down elements like Legend of Zelda. This is a really good game. I mean, this could be like the Zelda of the Dragon Quest series if they really wanted it to be, if they really did some cool stuff with it. But you know, we can see what's happening here. This is something I'd really love to see. So there, we got some gameplay. let's move on. Now we're talking Dragon Quest X is another thing I would really like to see at this presentation. Now, Dragon Quest X is a MMO game, and it is only in Japan. So because this stream is going to be so internationally minded, it would be cool, really cool, if we saw Square Enix come out and say this is going to be a worldwide release now. You can play with everybody around the world. You can chat with your friends. You can go on skirmishes, whatever. This is kind of the Final Fantasy XIV of the Dragon Quest universe. So it would be really great if we had it here in the West. I would love to have it. I am terrified of MMO RPGs. I'm afraid of the potential time sink they would cost me. And I would make an exception here, especially if it was free to play. Like if this could be a free to play game, kind of like Phantasy Star Online 2 is, that would be super dope. And I think it makes sense as a free to play game, just kind of looking at the presentation of it and everything. Free to play sounds like a decent way to go, but I mean, if it's free to play, I think I'll definitely be checking it out. If it's like $60, I'd have to think it over. I'll just have to assess the situation if and when it gets there. But that is that, talking about Dragon Quest X. Next up, one of the mobile games mentioned on the other article was Dragon Quest Walk. This is an AR location-based game like Pokemon Go, or this new like Pikmin game that's coming out, or the failed Minecraft Earth, which no one played. Now Dragon Quest has its own AR game called Dragon Quest Walk in Japan. I think it would be really cool to see this in the States. Why not? They've got so many other mobile games happening that I guess they're having some success with. So people really like these location-based games. I personally would love to have a game that I'm on foot with and doing that with, because I could never really get into Pokemon Go, and the one that I used to play was Ingress back in the day, and that's kind of long been dormant, I think. But a Dragon Quest game, I mean, that's something that could really suck me into the AR scene and just walk around and have a good time with getting some exercise, getting some steps in. So that's Dragon Quest Walk. I would love to see that. That would be cool. Obviously, the big one that everyone's sort of talking about is Dragon Quest 12. Of course, I want to see Dragon Quest 12 be revealed. I don't think it's going to happen. I think we're probably going to get another announcement, but if we get 12, if we get a reveal of 12, I will be pleasantly surprised. We're really due for a new Dragon Quest game in the mainline series, so who knows? But they're just putting so much developmental muscle into all these other side projects and spin-off games that I just don't know what's going on with 12 and if we'll really be getting it anytime soon. But what I have here is a list of all the Dragon Quest games in North America, the ones that were released in North America. And we can see that in more recent years, the DS and mobile and the 3DS are essentially where you can play like all of these Dragon Quest games. All of the mainline games seem to be kind of stuck in that time capsule of 3DS and DS, and then they're also on mobile. Now, of course, as a budding Dragon Quest stan, I want to play these games. I want to play the rest of the series, but I'm not going to stare at my phone for 80 hours playing like Dragon Quest VII. It's just not going to happen. So the company needs to port these games to modern consoles and to PC. That's the way to get the most longevity out of these games, because, you know, if they end up on the current consoles, then they're probably going to go the distance into the next generation of consoles. The DS and 3DS were really lightning in a bottle. Obviously, Nintendo wasn't going to keep giving us these dual screen formatted consoles forever. So that unfortunately means that the vast majority of Dragon Quest mainline entries are kind of frozen in time, because unless you really want to pull out your DS or 3DS and spend, you know, 80 hours playing Dragon Quest 8 or whatever. I mean, I don't want to do that. Not when I have, you know, things like the Switch, not when I have Game Pass where I can go back and forth in my living room and in my PC playing, you know, Dragon Quest Builders 2 or Dragon Quest 11S or whatever. You know, we're spoiled now. We're spoiled because we have the Switch and all these other ways, all these other options. So the handheld only options are just kind of, don't really want those anymore. So, what I'm thinking is the best way to do this would be to start with these mobile versions. Excuse me. Start with the mobile versions and then use that as a baseline to give us like Dragon Quest 7 and Dragon Quest Dragon Quest 10 is on mobile. That's interesting. But use this as a baseline to give us, no, that's not released. Never mind. Forget what I said right there. But you know, all these Dragon Quest games that are stuck on mobile, like that, those mobile versions, I looked at them online. I looked at some gameplay. I tried to look at a little bit of gameplay from all of them, and it seems like you could conceivably use that as a baseline for making modern console ports. Now, I don't think that the company needs to overdo this. They don't need to overthink this. They just need to give us the basic ports. That would be swell. Just have the basic ports. And then later on, if they want to make a grand remake of any of these games, they can absolutely feel free to knock themselves out and do that. But I think that with the mobile games, and in some cases with the 3DS games, we can have a really solid baseline for where to go when we make these console games. So that is my number one wish for this stream and for Dragon Quest in general. As somebody who's craving new Dragon Quest games, excuse me, old Dragon Quest games, as somebody who's craving the original experiences and wanting to play them in a modern form, I am left looking around not really knowing what to do, because, you know, those 1 through 3 on consoles and mobile and on consoles and Switch and PC and all that, well, those are busted for reasons I mentioned, so they need to patch those, and then all the other ones are just not available. So I'm kind of twiddling my thumbs when it comes to Dragon Quest games, as much as I want to play another one in another entry. But anyway, guys, that's all for this one. I just wanted to scream at you guys about how excited I am about Dragon Quest, and I wanted to tell you my wishes for this upcoming stream on the 27th. Maybe I'll jump back on here and talk about the stream once it happens. I think I almost certainly will do that. So check me out in a couple weeks for my roundup of that video. And anyway, guys, that's it for this one. Take it easy.